over the house, off the bird bath, through the target. Yes.
All right, I'm over the house, off the dog house, through the target. Hit some.
All right, how about this one? Through the garage window, out the bedroom window, through the target.
The Akers $1 Million Challenge is back. Enter at AkersFootball.com for your chance to win.
Welcome in. I'm Sam Monson. He's Steve Palazzolo, and we're kicking off the first installment of PFF's College 50, Steve, brought to you by Akers, the official smoked sausage of the college football playoffs. Let's start off by giving people an idea of what the PFF College 50 is.
Yeah, so we've graded every single player on every play in the FBS over the last 4 years, and for this top 50, it's the best players in college football, regardless of position. We do skew a little bit away from fullbacks, but it doesn't matter. Safeties, defensive linemen, offensive linemen, they're all fair game. We're not just focused on the quarterbacks who are the most valuable. So the best 50 players in all of college football heading into the season.
So let's kick off our list at number 50 with a guy from Wyoming, Steve, not your traditional college powerhouse, Andrew Wingard, a safety.
Yeah, we're going to treat those other schools as well as if they grade really high in our system, and that's what Andrew Wingard did in coverage and as a run stopper. He comes up and plays in the box. You see all those run stops that he's had. So Wingard's one of the best all-around safeties in the country, and that's why he's the first guy we're talking about here in the 50.
Staying in the secondary, number 49, it's Brian Peavy, a cornerback from Iowa State.
He's an undersized corner, Sam, but plays bigger than his size. He's under 5'10", but even in the Big 12 where he's targeted a lot, we've seen he's feisty at the catch point. He's made a ton of plays on the ball the last couple of years. And the thing I like about Peavy is 3 really good years of production. So he's got this 4th year to really cap a strong career at Iowa State.
A couple of smaller schools to start off our list, but number 48, we get to our first powerhouse. It's Joe Bachie, linebacker from Michigan State.
He's been one of the better run-stopping linebackers. He's been a little banged up these last couple of years, but when he's been on the field, one of the best all-around backers in the country. Love what he does in the run game, even though sometimes we say the run game doesn't matter as much, as coverage does. He has all those skills, but the run game is really where he does his best work.
Staying in the Big Ten at number 47, we've got Tyler Biadasz, a center from Wisconsin, one of the big horses up front for that Wisconsin offensive line.
Yeah, our guy Mike Renner, who loves watching offensive linemen, he's a big fan of Biadasz's game and what he does in that Wisconsin scheme. Look, Wisconsin has the best offensive line in the country, hands down, and he's a key in the middle. The blocks that he can make as far as the reach blocks in the zone game, and he just doesn't lose a whole bunch of reps. So he had a breakout season last year and expecting big things again this year, the top center in the entire country.
At number 46, we have Max Crosby, an edge rusher from Eastern Michigan. Steve, what can you tell us about Max?
Eastern Michigan, another smaller school guy. He's got really good size and length, and he has been unbelievably productive these last couple of years. He's solid against the run, but it's his work as a pass rusher that has really gotten him noticed. One of our top-graded pass rushers these last couple of seasons. I think he's on NFL radars because he has an NFL body type. So it's a big year for him, not only from a college standpoint, but also looking forward to the draft.
And speaking of NFL body types, at number 45, we go to the Alabama heartland, Raekwon Davis on the defensive interior, a conveyor belt of interior defensive linemen coming out of Alabama. Davis is the next one.
Raekwon's getting even more hype than we're giving him here. I know a lot of people would have him in the top 20, but he still has some work to do as a pass rusher. He had 7 sacks, but only a few extra pressures beyond that. He is not a dominant pass rusher yet, but like all these other Alabama linemen, so good in the trenches, so good in the run game. His technique, his ability to two-gap, rarely moved off the point of attack, so he could be much higher on this list by the end of the season. Last year was his first extended action. We're expecting a big breakout season for Raekwon.
At number 44, staying in the SEC, staying in the interior of the defensive line, it's Derrick Brown out of Auburn. What can you tell us about Derrick?
So he's a similar size to Raekwon Davis, and I had trouble separating these two guys. Brown had his own breakout season last year. He's about 6'5", really good movement skills. He rushes the passer just a tick better than some of these other interior linemen, and he's also solid against the run. I think he has a chance to make the same move that Raekwon Davis does. So we put them side by side on purpose. We'll see if they could separate themselves this year.
Number 43 on our list, it's Anthony Nelson, an edge rusher from Iowa. What can you tell us about Anthony?
Nelson's a monster, 6'7 plus, and he plays more of a traditional defensive end role. He had a solid 2016 and then just a breakout 2017. Moves pretty well for a big 6'7", 270-pounder that, you know, projected NFL type of base defensive end, and he just pushes offensive tackles into the backfield, whether it's in the run game or as a pass rusher. We see those 53 pressures, most among Big Ten edge defenders coming off the edge. So, you know, Nelson is as good as it gets in the Big Ten, other than a guy that we're going to have a little bit later on the list.
Spoiler alert there, Steve, almost. Number 42, the great thing about the PFF 50 is experience doesn't matter as well. So a guy that was a true freshman a season ago, Cam Akers, running back out of Florida State, a dynamic weapon.
Yeah, so he's going to be getting a whole lot more action this year, from catching the ball out of the backfield to just getting carries. He's so good in the open space. You could see how much more comfortable he got as the season went on. You see that from a lot of freshmen. And when you see that in the second half of a guy's freshman season, a lot of times it carries into their sophomore year. So Akers, I think by the end of the year with a heavier workload, you're going to see much bigger numbers, and he's going to be a much bigger household name by the end of the season.
And the last guy to talk about in the first installment of the PFF College 50, Deante Johnson, a wide receiver out of Toledo.
Toledo is a wide receiving group that I think is the best in the country. Deante Johnson is a big part of it. Yeah, I know they're in the MAC, but they had Cody Thompson go down due to injury last year, and he has 3 outstanding seasons under his belt. And then Deante Johnson became the #1 guy, and whether it was catching the ball down the field or yards after the catch, Johnson was absolutely outstanding. When you add Thompson back into the mix and a couple other guys they have returning, they're the best receiving core in the nation, and Deante Johnson's the best guy.
So that's going to do it for the first installment of the PFF College 50, brought to you by Ekridge. Don't forget to pick up Ekridge smoked sausage at your local grocery store for this weekend's tailgate or homegate party, and make sure to visit ekridgefootball.com for great game day recipes.
And to enter their season-long $1 Million Challenge.